Thank you, RGV Stars fans and viewers, for supporting us throughout the last 6 years. Now we are already in season 24, approaching episode 240, and we've had a great experience in this journey. Amazing and talented individuals have been a part of RGV Stars, and we appreciate the support.
And we do this for you guys. We appreciate everything that you guys have done for us, for all the follows, the likes, and the shares. Remember that you can follow us and on all our platforms, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. Hit that subscribe button.
And thank you also to the Embassy Suites by Hilton for allowing us to film in these amazing state-of-the-art facilities. And we will continue making you all proud and trying our best to bring all of the RGV stars to the show to continue making it a success. Thank you, guys.
We'll see you on the next one.
Welcome to another edition of Season 24 of RGV Stars, live with Alex Arabia and Isaac Medina. Remember that RGV Stars is
the premier platform for showcasing Rio Grande Valley talent
and the RGV Celebrities Place to Be. Celebrities and stand-up comedians like Roy Alex Gomez. Thank you so much for being here, Roy.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
No, you're welcome. And our fans today will get the chance to get to know more about you, about your background, why you got interested in comedy, achievements, obstacles, future goals, and anything else that you want to share. Sounds good?
Yeah, sounds good.
Awesome. So we're super excited to have you here.
Thanks.
So tell us where you're from and what you do full time. What got you interested in comedy?
Well, I've always kind of been the funny kid in school, and comedy was sort of a thing that we used to cope with growing up. You know, I wasn't necessarily rich, so what we were rich with were jokes about each other and stuff, so naturally we just would roast each other. Yeah. And that's kind of where it stemmed from. And in school, I was kind of the funny kid. So
The class clown.
yeah, kind of. My initial passion actually was English, so it all kind of just, you know, wove together. And because I used to be a journalist a long time ago. Yeah, I was a journalist. I wrote for a newspaper for like a split second, and then Well, I don't know if you guys know, but written journalists, it's hard to find work, at least steady. A lot of freelance work, but to find like a steady job.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know if I want to do that for the rest of my life. So then my last resort was comedy. It was either that or life of delinquency. It was one or the other. But comedy was better. My family approved more, so that, yeah.
And how's your relationship with the comedians here in the RGV? Because we've had many of them on the show, like Reme Horta, Sonia
Right.
Treviño, Mario Salazar,
Yeah.
Uri Barba.
Well, funny you ask, because the way that I met each one of them was basically through the same thing, which was comedy, but also open mics. Yeah, and the one thing that's really cool about the Valley, as far as it comes to comedy, is there's pretty much enough for everybody. And a lot of the OGs were very encouraging of people who wanted to try it and stuff. It takes a certain cut of person to want to get up there every week to kind of expose themselves like that to an audience.
Yes.
And like once they kind of see that you have that, they'll take you under their wing. They'll put you on a few shows.
Yes.
And that's kind of that's kind of the relationship that I had with them. Now I'm sort of the person who is giving out those shows to people who are trying to do it on their own. Like trying to start out for the first time and stuff.
Yeah.
And how many years have you been doing stand-up comedy now?
Okay, so I've been doing it for about 10 years, but I really started taking it seriously about 7 years ago. And the one thing that we really appreciated from all the OGs was giving us the time, but there's only so much time, and there's a bunch of aspiring comics out there. So what I wanted to do was kind of get a group together where we could highlight ourselves on our own showcases. So that's kind of where the traction started. And we slowly started to build from absolutely nothing to where we are today. Yeah.
So have you performed in venues like Cine El Rey?
Of course, yeah. Those were some of the first shows that I had. Mario Salazar was kind enough to actually put me on my first show. Yeah, and the way that I found out about comedy was actually through my buddy Sonia Treviño. I think she was on the show too at one point.
She was.
Yeah. I used my journalistic skills in order to find like all the comedians down here. So it was Raymond Horta, Mario Salazar. There was another comedian by the name of Ray Lopez.
Okay.
And then Sonia Treviño. At the time when I reached out to them, I think Raymond and Mario were kind of just a little too popular. Like messages get lost in your inbox once you reach a certain status. And Ray Lopez was dead. So it's not like I would want a message from him anyways, you know what I mean? Like, and Sonia Treviño was actually the one who reached out back to me and was like, hey, cool that you're interested in it. You want to try and hit open mics. That's where you start. That's where you're going to build whatever it is you're trying to figure out. And she was pretty much the person who kind of showed me how to like do everything. I mean, I don't want to like discredit anybody else because there were a lot more people who were involved with helping me get where I was, like Mario and Raymond. Very integral parts of the scene down here for sure.
And in your stand-up comedy routine, do you incorporate like making fun of yourself, controversial topics like politics, religion, sex, or what do you talk about?
I think it's a little bit of everything. I do definitely talk about where I came from, like Mercedes and growing up there. I talk about my kid, personal relationship things, stuff like that. And then every now and then I will also sort of, I guess, dive into the more controversial topics, like maybe political things or maybe things a bit about religion or something like that. Yeah.
Politics is a little bit tricky right now, right?
It is, yeah, because you really, what I've learned is in order to be a polite, to kind of present yourself politely, it's never really good to talk about religion or politics in public just because you don't know who you're going to offend, which kind of isn't the greatest thing to kind of, build yourself off of as a comedian, because up there you want to be able to just bear it all. And so I guess it just really depends, like what kind of show it is.
Yeah.
Like if it's a show where you're going to have some important people there with some opinions also, then maybe you don't really like, toss those jokes out there. But if you got a show where it's just at a bar or whatever, and you have an opinion that you think that maybe other people would agree with, then why not?
And has your family been supportive in your career as a comedian?
Okay, initially, I think everybody had their doubts because they're like, what do you mean comedy? Like, why did you stop doing the things you were doing? What do you mean you don't want to work? What do you mean you don't want to like have a steady job? I'm like, well, it's a dream, I guess. And things started happening, you know, like
Dream.
yeah, things eventually started to happen. And I'm like, well, I mean, I went from nothing to now we're doing a thing with, you know, like now we have celebrities on our own podcast and stuff. And it was like, we never really thought that we were going to be that sort of show or whatever, but eventually that's what we came out to be, you know? So yeah, we definitely have like, it's built. Like we built something that they can see now. Like I think at first they weren't sure what kind of vision I had, but long term, they're like, okay, he's okay. You know, like he's all right.
How do you balance work, life, and comedy, and how much time do you need to invest in preparing for like a show?
Okay, so as a regular comic, it really, all you have to really just depend on is your material and practice. That's really it. As far as like things that I do, where it's like I do everything, all sort of aspects of the show, where like I have to put it together, I have to host, I'll have to come up with the art for the flyers every week, and every week it has to be a brand new catchy thing because nobody likes to reuse old designs and stuff, you know. So as far as a comic, there's really not much. It's really just like you got to get up there and put yourself out there. You have to put the work in, and the work really is at open mics. You get up there every week. You get somewhere. You figure out what joke works and how to maybe fine tune it a little bit while you're there, because that's what an audience helps you do. And then once you get to that point where you have maybe like 3 or 4 minutes, then one of us might see you, and then that's eventually how you get on shows, you know?
Awesome.
Yeah.
What do you think has been your biggest achievement and your biggest obstacle so far?
Biggest achievement really just is where I am right now. You know, I don't have to turn to a life of crime to survive and stuff. And I think my biggest obstacle is probably just the self-doubt.
Yeah.
I think that's really anybody's biggest obstacle. You know, you start doubting yourself, and then it's like, oh, I need to figure out this detail because I'm just not happy with it. But I think my biggest obstacle to learn that I'm kind of coping with right now is how to put a project down. How to be like, okay, it's done. Right, now I can move on to the next thing, and I can finally like, I'm okay. It's all right. It's not the end of the world if you know everything's in the right order or whatever. It's just let's put out something else.
Are you also fluent in Spanish for the comedy, or it's mainly in English?
I mean, I've done sets where
Spanglish.
yeah, kinda. Like it's not really heavy. I don't have that heavily incorporated in my comedy, but I have done shows where I've had to like sorta, you know, be a little more diverse with that. But yeah.
And future goals, where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years?
Okay, so I'm hoping at least by then have some sort of special that I can produce on vinyl. I just feel like that would be kind of cool to, you know, have as a personal goal. And then eventually, well, comedy is always going to be the forefront thing it's gotten me where I am right now, you know. But eventually what I would really like to do is probably write and direct a movie. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. That's a nice goal to have.
And where can our viewers find you guys on social media?
Oh, you can find us at Recalled Productions on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And you can find me at Roy Gomez Comedy on all those social media platforms too.
All right. And then you have any events coming up?
We do. We have one coming up. I believe it's June 28th. And that's that'll be at the Far Theater Far. Yeah, Far, Texas.
Theater.
Yeah.
Becoming very popular.
Far Community Theater.
Yeah.
I think there's 2. There's another one, but yeah, we're at the Far Community Theater.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's real popular.
Yeah, a lot of acting.
Oh yeah, actually that's how we found out about it.
A closing message, a closing remark for the fans, the viewers of RGV Stars.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. I appreciate the invite, and it was so much fun to be interviewed and stuff.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Roy.
Thank you so much.
And we wish you the best. More success, more
Hey.
blessings in your future.
Yes.
Thank you, fellas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And this was another edition of Season 24 of RGV Stars, live with Alex Arabia and Isaac Medina. Remember, RGV Stars is
The premier platform for showcasing Rio Grande Valley talent.
the RGV Celebrities Place to Be. Until next time.
Till next time.
Thank you.